Welcome to episode number 61 of Lone Star Brahmas Inside the Bullpen. Nick Merrick betrays us all and bails for Portland. No, wait, that's not it. Oh, here it is. Nick Merrick takes the next step in his career and heads to Portland. Congratulations and good luck, Nick. We're proud of you. Brought to you by Sport Clips, haircuts for men.
And with that rousing intro by Mike Norgard, it's actually episode 62, not 61, as he said. It's not the first time he's been wrong, won't be the last, but we love you anyway, Mike. Chad Seward, Megan Kim, and a new voice, Dustin Copening, the new director of broadcasting to the Lone Star Brahmas. Dustin,
fancy
hello.
Titles.
It's great.
I love fancy titles.
It's great. I think a title is good.
I hope I can live up to the billing of said title.
Well, if you play your cards right, you'll be vice president of broadcasting before you know it.
I like that. Yeah.
We are here in the suddenly quiet confines of the NITEC Sports Center as we've got training camp in full swing. Dustin is taking over for Nick Merrick. Megan is continuing her duties as she did last year and the year before, and probably adding on to that. And Dustin, what do you think? Are you excited?
Very excited.
The boys are excited, too.
Boy, man, I've been able to catch the last couple of weekends, a little bit of the scrimmages that have been going on. Everyone looks like they've got their hockey pants excited. Coach Wildfong's got the boys ready to roll. And, it's going to be awesome starting tomorrow evening. For the first puck drop.
We're excited. We're glad you could come out and talk before it actually gets, I guess, serious. You have a whole host of games to cover. You've got new players. I think, Megan, how many returners do we have?
Like 6.
Oh, okay. That's more
5, maybe 5.
It's getting less.
Yeah. No, if you're okay. Yeah,
drinking.
like 5.
Yeah, I've got
5.
my spotter board, the 30-some-odd names that are on there, 35 or so, and got to go through tonight, hit up on Elite Prospect and start going in and get those background details of everyone. But that's the one great thing about this organization is that you know that even though you've got so many new faces, it's going to be a very fun team to watch. You just look at last year, the Robertson Cup championship team, and how the season started a little bit slow, but, man, they got rolling, and we're so close to getting back to that playoff championship tournament, and I expect nothing less from this year's team.
I would expect that as well. I think Dan, and now that Justin Hale has had his first full year of recruiting, I think we're seeing a lot of – I mean, look, this team is looking out there. It's pretty tall, pretty big team, a lot of big bodies out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're going to see maybe a little – Megan, what do you think? A little different style of Brahmas hockey, maybe a little tougher Brahmas hockey, a little bit more physical?
I think that's definitely what Coach Wildfong has been instilling in this group, that coming in, like, they've been a little bit more skilled than years past.
Yeah?
Like better hands, faster, a little more prone to doing the fancy stuff, being able to do the fancy stuff. And, of course, you come here and you come play Brahmas hockey, which is a little rough and tumble in the Null South, the dirty South, as they call it.
And the interesting thing about last year's team, when you look at it, is defense and goaltending certainly not a problem.
A little bit, not a problem.
Gibson, getting drafted with the Capitals and everything, but scoring was the thing that lagged a little bit. I think they were 4th in the South, if pull it off the top of my head from my prep.
That's what
in
you
goals
do.
Scored.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you can get that toughness and then put in a little bit more agility, a little more stick handling, a little more pucks in the back of the net.
I agree. We
rolling.
Listen, we had the 5-goal challenge with Abuelos last year for Queso, and by the middle of the year, they were like, hey, how about let's just...
You score?
If we win.
You score. If we win, you get Queso.
Any goal.
We'll take a goal. One goal, Queso.
I mean, listen, Dan is... Every year, the slate starts clean, and he's in mid-season form right now.
Yeah, we're upping the intensity.
Let me give you a suggestion if you're a future Brahma player. Do not take a seat on the bench.
Negative.
No, as
Negative.
Megan and I walked in, and we were introduced to Coach Wildfong chastising someone with colorful language for taking a seat on the pine. And,
And hopefully the boys on the ice and below us, we're in the press box here at NYTEX, if you can't tell. Hopefully you can hear the intensity on the ice. They've been on the ice for 1 hour and 55 minutes as of now. That's a long practice.
We're doing special teams. It's fun. Obviously, you can't see what's going on, but it's a good time. And speaking of special teams,
there's glass.
That's some great noise.
We have someone back who was very effective indeed on the power play last year. Jakub Sirota is back with us.
Yeah,
excited about it.
I am so excited. Yeah,
he just kissed the glass right in front of us.
He did.
Is that our big collision?
Is that our first player interview of the season or the preseason? I guess.
No, I'm gonna try and catch like Feeney because he'll talk my ear off. Feeney's a good guy to do that with. Maybe try and get Frankie to chat with me in his third full year as a Brahma. Hopefully he's used to me by now. I give him crap about that all the time. He's like, no, I don't want to. And I'm like, Frankie, you see me literally every day. Please just give me a quote.
Well, like the storylines, I guess, going into the preseason is it's Feeney's team now. You mentioned Gibson getting drafted, Dustin. And that is, what do you have, Megan, at the end of the year, 11 shutouts?
Yes.
12.
11.
11. Okay, that's ridiculous to follow up with. That's like being a pitcher and have the guy before you had 5 no-hitters or something. It's ridiculous. Maybe not that extreme, but
almost. So that's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot. And he pitched a lot of those. He pitched a lot of those shutouts against really good teams. They weren't coming against like the bottom teams.
Yeah.
In the South, they were coming against Shreveport and Fairbanks.
Yeah, we only played Kenai twice.
Yeah. Topeka, I mean. Like, they didn't come against that. Like they came against the good teams. He always brought his level, I think, as high as he needed to. So
big game Gibby is what he was. And now it's Feeney's turn.
Right.
So.
Well, and one of the things that I noticed in looking at a couple of scrimmages is the goaltending just looks astounding. Good. I mean, a lot of up-close chances that they were just nailing. I mean, just you sit back and applaud. And I'm sure, Coach is listening to the audio on the video feed and hearing us go, wow.
I hope not.
Okay. So, goodness. Yeah, I think they're in great hands when it comes to net mining this year.
Right. So speaking of net mining, I guess we'll give a little shout out to Wes Minkowski.
Okay.
Who was a tender.
Where is he from?
Sorry?
Where is he from? Top of your head.
He's from the NCDC's Syracuse Stars.
Nice knowledge.
Yeah, I got this.
Megan the computer.
Yeah, if they're on the protected list, I have them in my head by this point. Wes has been really good. I think he's impressed during training camp. Like you said, in the scrimmages the past 2 weekends, he's been basically lights out, and there were some good chances. He's a big kid, probably 6'2", 6'3", can use those limbs. He's tall, he's smart, so I'm excited to see him.
Well, another storyline we talk about, it is a rivalry is, I think, finally established. Shreveport had only been in the league. Last year was our second year. Mm-hmm. We never really had met in the postseason until last year. In fact, fun fact about Shreveport, in the entire history of the Brahmas and Mudbugs, which goes back 20 years, the 3 wins that the Mudbugs had on the Brahmas last year in the playoffs were the first 3 playoff wins ever. Now, granted, we've only played them 2 or 3 times, but we've swept them every time up until last year. So I think that rivalry is renewed, and I expect them, especially with a new coach and Soupy, who is a former teammate of Dan Wildfong. So just like Coach Zernis last year, I expect him to have a really good team and those games to be super intense. That's what I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, absolutely. No reason not to believe it.
Now, Topeka has a new name. Who knows the story there? They were kind of struggling last year. Amarillo was struggling. Who knows? They could come out hot and be a totally new look south.
Yeah, I think you always kind of have the powerhouses, right, of the South.
Right.
We're usually up there. I'd imagine we'll be up there again because, like we said, Coach Wildfong is pretty good at whipping his teams into shape by the time we get rolling. And I think the one thing they are really focusing on this year is that last year we didn't get off to the greatest start. We went to the showcase and lost 3 of 4.
True.
And, that's not how you want to get going. And I think by the time the season ended, they kind of really looked back at that start and kind of thought, man, we wish we would have gotten rolling sooner. And this year their big focus is we're starting from September 15th. That's when we start playing. We don't start playing a month in. We don't start playing after the showcase. We start playing now. We're going to get those points that even though it's early in the season, they're crucial.
The bottom line is it was a 3-point difference between Shreveport and the Brahmas. And so, it's the old saying, again, not to overuse the baseball terms, but, you can't win the division at the beginning of the season, but you sure can lose it.
That's very true.
And you lose that 5th game in the South Division Finals on the road.
That's true. That's true.
And you never know. And, hey, guess who went on to win the Robertson Cup last year?
No surprise there. Well, Corpus is another team we got to look out for a little bit. They have a new coach, and it's Ryan Crothers, who former Texas Brahma player from back in the day. He had a very brief stint here with the Brahmas, but he was a highly recruited forward that Dan had a lot of hopes in. I think we ended up trading him, or he moved to the East Coast League or something like that. But they are here now. They had practice this morning. They'll have practice tomorrow, practice Thursday. Their practice was intense. There was a lot of yelling, screaming, whistle blowing. At one point, they got a little bit lackadaisical or lazy or something, quiet, and Coach Crothers ripped him a new one. So he must have a high expectation on him to win up there or down there in Corpus. And we'll see. Corpus, Shreveport, and the Brahmas, the 3 early favorites, I would say, in the division. Always going to be the Brahmas in there.
Well, and you look at those ties with, the Brahmas players, coaches, either be Texas or Lone Star, and where they go. You look at Coach Al Rooney, who's now with the New Ulm Still.
Yep.
And, I mean, it's just it's something you have to keep an eye on. You know that those players, now coaches, former coaches here or with Texas, they've got that secret sauce. They know the formula.
They do.
You talk about recruiting, and Coach Wildfong, he knows the players that he's looking for year in and year out, and he knows what he's going to get out of those players. And you expect the same thing with these coaches and other ports of call in the NAHL.
And Wildfong has a work ethic. He is a hard worker. Look, practice just ended. They had their little team huddle, said Brahmas. Not one person has left the ice yet.
No.
They're all still out there. I think there may be a little bit of fear factor. They're afraid to leave the ice.
Who's the first person who's like,
oh, you don't want to be that guy.
All right, I guess it's
out.
me, guys. He's out there recruiting. He's like, okay, yeah, come on. No, we're good. Yeah, no one's leaving the ice on their own first. I guarantee you that.
That's true. Well, okay, so Dustin, for those that didn't know, Dustin broadcast all of our home NA 3HL games, except for, did we do one, Megan? Did I do one? I swear.
You and Nick did one. That was like Monday mid-game.
Game.
Listen, when called to duty, I will be there for you. Apologies in advance to the fans. Copening, the backstory with Dustin here is I met Dustin at a Dallas Stars career fair, like, what was that, 3 years ago?
Yeah, I guess about 3 or 4 years ago.
And
you met me at one, too.
That's true. That's true. I met Megan. Megan was the one after Dustin, I think. Or maybe the same one.
Well, mine would have been in, like, 2016, because that's when I would have graduated.
Yeah, yours would have been there as well.
So my first year came in, interviewed with you and Nick, and had no idea what you wanted me to do when I left. It was like, cool, you're going to do something with your organization. Do you want to do something? I was like, absolutely. Sure. So showed up to one of those NA preseason games, Lone Star preseason games, jumped on the camera, ran through the first period, and Nick came up to me afterwards and said, okay, we were going to want you on camera this year. And about midway through the season, of course, that was the year of Walt Ruff.
Right.
Doing the Texas games.
Walty!
And the color commentary. And so it's one of those weekends where there's like 20 games.
Yeah.
It's like it's impossible.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it felt like that for those guys. And I said, well, you want to jump on and do color with Walt? And I said,
sure.
Let's do this. And that's when the love affair began. Yeah,
and then last year you were called on to do all the NA3 games, which you did. And this year, honestly, this year there wasn't really anywhere else that we wanted to look as far as a guy. When Nick announced that he was moving, it's like, all right, well, Dustin, you've been in the minors, you've been in the bullpen for long enough, and it's time to pull you up. That's the beautiful thing about having an NA3 team and an NA team in the same building is you can kind of foster and nurture staff and move them on up. And Now it's this year. You're comfortable in the room. No shock there. You've worked enough games. You've seen this room loud. What can the fans expect from you this year, Dustin?
So, first off, the shoes that I have to fill are remarkably large in what Nick Merrick was able to do.
This is true. No argument there.
It's like when I started, and Nick would hear a little bit of the call in the Texas games, and when he was in the building, and I'm like the child looking up to the parent looking for approval, like for the get off, I'm like the first period's over, and I'm like, please, Mr. Merrick, tell me I did well, and in the way that he goes, oh, buddy, yeah, that was great. However, they're like 2 minutes in. You said full court pass. There's really not a court that's out there. It's more of a rink. I'm just sitting there going, dang it, he's right. But I'm excited for that challenge. I think we're a little similar in how we call a game conversationally, and just trying to fill in the gaps between what you're watching on hockey TV versus the backstory and things. Megan's going to help out with that this year.
Oh, yeah.
Jumping in the booth.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean...
Get ready. Are any of us really ready?
Well, and that's the one thing is I did get a chance to do a couple of the NEA games 2 years ago, the Robbie Cup season. I got to call an overtime win.
Oh, boy.
Early on in the year when Nick was in prime wedding season for him. Yeah. And... I called 2 games. In the first game, like it came in after the second intermission. You're like, how you feeling? And I'm like, I'm doing good. But it is fast.
It is fast.
He said, yeah, I could tell you're feeling everything out. But that second game, I really sort of felt, we caught our win with everything, got my legs underneath me. And that'll be the biggest adjustment for me personally is just the speed of the game and catching up to everything. But the nice thing is we got 3 calls here back to back basically this week. Yep. And so I'm just really excited about it and being able to bring my personality to the ice and hopefully the folks who've been listening to Nick and everything don't want to change the channel after 10 minutes.
Well, you'll have a few hundred people listening every game. We've been no pressure here, Dustin. We've been was it first last year? No, we were second.
We were second last year, but we were close.
We're gonna get back on top, and that
Alaska trip's killed us.
That did kill us.
That killed us.
That's a true story. Also, I think the game I called with you might have hurt us a little bit. I think we might have had some people tune out, maybe. No, we want to be first in total viewership on hockey TV.
Our Robbie year, we were.
Absolutely. So, no pressure. We're going to do that. No. And you'll have some new listeners in Sweden, right? We've had some people requesting. Obviously, we've got Swedes on the team. So
we have 2 Swedes on the team, so we'll have viewership from Sweden. So
you have to do a bilingual broadcast.
And the Czech Republic.
I'll look a few things up.
You've got 24 hours,
from Sweden and work it in. Yeah, exactly. Is Billy making the team? Billy, the who we got? The goaltender that came in?
Sorry. Say that again. I zoned out. I was watching the defenseman.
Yeah, going on.
Yeah.
Megan's like, I'm sorry. I have no need for your words.
Sorry, repeat that.
Billy, what's his last name? I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
Gerard.
Is he going to make it?
The goalie?
That's a good question for Wildfong.
Yeah, I don't think they know yet. The competition has been really stiff. So
I just say it for the chance of I try to work in little things here and there, little Easter eggs on the broadcast, and I really am waiting for him to make a great save and just go, oh, Billy!
Well, I know this. I know that typically, and I'm not going to speak for this team because it's totally 100% Dan and Justin's call. Typically, we're going to have 3 goalies through the showcase. So there's a good chance that we'll have 3 goalies at least through late September. I think the cut date to get down to 23 players is like September 20-something.
It's after the showcase because you can take 25 to the showcase, and then you have to trim after that.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I'm telling you there's a chance, Dustin. There is a chance.
Not to scare everyone off. I try to work those fun things in there from time to time to break up the monotony.
I love it. And let me tell you,
save. No.
Broadcasting hockey is the hardest friggin' thing in the world. It's 1,000 times harder than baseball. Baseball, you're trying to stay awake half the time. You're telling stories about the center fielder's grandpa or talking about hot sauce. Basketball is a little high pace, but there's so many stoppages. Football, the same thing. And hockey, it's 100 miles an hour from the moment it goes. And the names, my God, we have some colorful names on the team this year, don't we, Megan?
We certainly do. Shout out to Dan Delabaya, who so kindly pronounced his name for me because I had been looking since main camp, just staring oh my goodness, how do we say that? But he pronounced it, was very patient as I repeated it back to him incorrectly several times, and then finally got it. I think I have it now. Saraloma, Vilho.
Saraloma.
V. Yeah, we got that. Honestly, it could be worse. I think a lot of them, they're fine. Gruzinia rhymes with gardenia is how he introduces himself.
Okay.
So he has that down.
That. When they give you a little
Absolutely. That's one of the things I learned. And Copening's not a crazy name, but I learned very early on. I heard my mom say it's opening with a C in front of it. But one of the great stories from last year doing the Texas games, and I'm going to forget the player's name, but you always hear from the opposing teams, especially their parents or fans that are watching. And one of the great things is because the production crew here is so great. Patrick Beals is going to be back. I mean, like I said, it's at that level especially, and I think at the NA level, it's the best production that's available.
Agree. Top notch.
You hear that all the time, but there was one time I'm up here at call, we hit the first intermission, and one of the girls at the front desk comes around and she's like, "Someone's on the phone and wants to talk to you." And I said,
"I'll be right there. Hang on."
"Well, I'm kind of busy." And I told her, she was, and I said, "Well, unless it's Chad Seward, Frank Trezera, or Nick Merrick, I'm not leaving the booth to talk to them. I apologize."
That's true.
So, and I'm like, "What's this about?" It's one of the Louisiana drillers' parents calling, and she was like, "Well, just tell him. I really wanted to let him know. We really love the broadcast. You guys do such a great job. But my son's name is actually pronounced."
Oh, boy. Well, and along the same line, in the 3HL, Nick and I called a game. This is, I think, this is the year before you started calling them all. We called a game. And remember, who's the goalie? I don't know. Well, I don't know if you remember. Delosio?
Oh, Deloisio.
Yeah. Deloisio. We were calling him Delosio.
Oh, no.
And we did it for a whole 2 periods.
That was my first season. And yes, that was one of the names initially that I got. At that same season, there was Beauvert, which is a common French name, Cajun name. And I was saying Boisvert for the first couple of games.
And listen, that's understandable.
Got corrected real quick.
Yeah, listen, in hockey, you just got to understand there's going to be some mispronunciations, and that's why we got to get to the nickname level with everybody, right? We need to get where we're just.
We're there. We're there.
Well, anyway, okay, folks. So Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. There's 3 preseason games. Wednesday at 7, Friday at 7:30, Saturday at 7:30. Brahmas and Hackalopes, Brahmas and Ice Rays. It'll be good stuff. A little mini South showcase down here at the NYTEX Sports Center. Tickets to all those games are $10. You can get them at the box office. Box office is available. I highly doubt any of them will sell out, but it'll be a good chance you'll see a lot of different faces. For those of you asking how many of the returners are going to play, I mean,
there will be a couple in every game.
Yeah, a couple in every game.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys they'll rotate in and out, but you'll see them. Really, and there's some really fun guys here. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and if you want, I mean, I'm not saying that the guys who make the final roster won't be working as hard as ever, but you want to see some guys bust their butts. Come watch these 3 games. I mean, we're talking roster spots are on the line, and unlike
100%.
Preseason football and that ridiculousness, these guys can actually play.
Yes. That's true. Yeah, the roster spots are on the line. I mean, there's only 20 guys dressed for every game. There's 33 out here in camp right now. You're going to have 13 scratched each night. I mean, Coach is
Jeez.
looking. He's looking for somebody to show him something. So you'll see a lot of. This is the time of year where guys will run through a wall to impress Coach, and they'll have that opportunity. One little last note for those of you who said you guys announced on like the last podcast how much stuff you changed. Why do the boards look the same? I will get that question, believe it or not, Dustin. I'll have about 3 or 4 emails with that question.
I bet.
It is contracts go through the month of September, so all the boards from last year are still here, but we will hopefully get those all changed out by a home opener. We've got one in the books that'll set a record for the North American Hockey. We can't divulge that, but we'll have the biggest dasher board in the history of the North American Hockey League.
Oh, my gosh.
It's very exciting. Extremely exciting.
Assuming they sign the contract that's sitting in their lap.
Can we get the Teletubbies dasher
Teletubbies are not, because part of the longest dasher board will be
okay.
there. It's
All
a little
right.
bit of space.
All right.
Neutral zone dasher board. Very excited about that.
That is exciting.
It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Oh, and we got the beer special the next couple
We do.
preseasons. That's a big reason to come out.
Hop Fusion will be doing some beer tastings on the Wednesday night game. Very excited about that. They have several flavors to taste. Look, they're all good. I mean, I don't know. The dark one I'm not so much on, but that's me. That's me.
It's just a personal preference.
Personal
They're all
preference.
great.
If you're a dark beer fan, I'm sure it's lovely.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So come check it out. I think they'll have the Feisty Blonde, delicious beer, the Mexican Lager, the, I don't know. They'll have some other beers. Check them out in the party deck, which you can go hang out in preseason game on the 5th. And
Can we set the booth up over there?
we
interesting about second
We
or
could.
third period.
I'm fully in support of that. So, Megan, tell us, for the fans at home,
Yep.
let's see how good you are.
Yep.
There's 3 players left on the ice.
Yep.
Who is on the ice?
Poddick,
Who?
Gabe Poddick,
Okay.
Andrew DiCarlo, and Sam Brennan.
Okay, so we're gonna wait and see who's the last man left on the ice. Who is the hardest working Brahma? Who's that? Is that Brendan? Brendan in gray?
No, Brennan will be in black. He's the defenseman.
All right, so your winner, for those of you who are asking, and none of you are asking, but if you're curious, the last man standing on the ice, Megan Kim, is?
Andrew DiCarlo.
There you go, DiCarlo. You have won a free haircut from Sport Clips.
Sport Clips.
You know, Dustin, your hair doesn't stop growing on the weekend, so you should go into Sport Clips and have yourself a man break.
A man break.
Man break. Get a hot towel treatment, hair washing. Watch some sport. The hot towel is key.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't it key?
Our assistant coach was sporting a fresh cut. I wonder if he went.
And look,
to
I cut all
Sport.
my hair off.
You did.
I did.
Did you go to Sport Clips?
Absolutely. Because
Wonderful.
I listen, with 3 kids, you've got a kid. You understand this. You need a man break every now and then.
Yeah.
I don't have a kid, and sometimes I still need man breaks.
No, I agree. I think everybody should have we should make mandatory man breaks.
Mandatory.
Man breaks. Take a man break here at hockey, the 5th, 7th, or 8th.
7 p.m. on Wednesday.
This is the part where the train
7:30
all over the tracks.
on Friday and
And,
Saturday.
I'm just going to end it.
This has been Inside the Bullpen, brought to you by Sport Clips, haircuts for men, where you can sign in online and skip the wait. Thanks for listening through to the end. We weren't really sure you would. And until next time. 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 Until next time.